welcome nerds to the 5th annual Blerdcon. That's the cue. Yes! My name is Zero Gravity. I am a horror podcaster, host, and entertainer, and also junior protector of all things black and nerdy. And today we have an incredible guest joining us. His resume is like a damn textbook, and we don't have time for an entire lecture, so I think we can just start this off with an experiment. Participation is necessary, okay? Please raise your hand if you're familiar with Orlando Jones from Mad TV. Okay, very good. Please raise your hand if you're familiar with Orlando Jones from the movie Drumline. Please raise your hand if you're familiar with Orlando Jones from American Gods. And finally, please raise your hand if you're familiar with Orlando Jones from Sleepy Hollow. All right, that sounds like a success to me. All right, without further ado, introducing Mr. Jones. Excellent. All right, y'all. There's that one thing that keeps us all connected in this room today, and that is fandom. All right, so sit tight. We have an amazing interview. Let's get to chatting, shall we? Also, everyone in the audience, maybe think of a question or two if you have the opportunity to ask Mr. Jones a question later on in the interview, just so you know. All right. Mr. Orlando Jones, hey, thanks for coming.
Hey. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
I like your bomber jacket.
You know, we try and do a little something.
Yeah, sick. All right, so in 2015, MTV crowned you the king of fandom. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that's the one thing that keeps everybody together in this room, which is a thing we hold very near and dear. What fandoms are you connected to?
Oh, my goodness. So, you know, it's weird. I feel like I've been a part of, like, black fandom since Millennium Comics came into existence, and there was Mad TV and Mad Magazine. I kind of fell in around there, and but I don't think I got to express it until really Sleepy Hollow, because there was suddenly a digital network and I could kind of jump in. And so I found myself looking for fandoms for people who I felt like me, you know, like they were kind of pushed aside in a sense. You know, not in the sense that I've ever felt pushed aside artistically, but I think, you know, being a black kid from Alabama, when you show up in places, no one expects you to be anything but a country bumpkin, right? So there was always that you say you're black and you're from Alabama, and then you just kind of, yeah, shut up, you know. You weren't as interesting as the New York guys or the Brooklyn guys or the L.A. guys or this, you know, wherever, you know, you were just some bumpkin. So I looked for fandoms where you dismissed people, right? Where they had decided something and you might not have liked what they decided, but I think the whole fucking point of fandom, you know, to make it up on your own on a certain level.
Make it
you
up.
Know? And I found that when you really explore representation and you stop talking about these ideas like they're not people, you start looking to see, well, what are the people who don't feel represented writing about? And so I find myself an archive of their own and all of that. And so I landed in Elicity for Arrow, Destiel for Supernatural, Jolovany for X-Files, of course Star Trek and Star Wars and all, it's, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, and then I got a little crazy about stuff like, you know, Washington, Grandma Washington on that side, and just, I don't know, Persepolis on the graphic novel side. In 2013, I made a graphic novel called Tainted Love. And I didn't think it should be just paper. I just wanted it to come alive. So I made a movie that's both animation and panels and graphic novels. So my fandom love is really just about being a fan. I feel like I've always been a fan. I became an entertainer because I was a fan. I never wanted to leave the community. That fame life was never what I was after. I just wanted to come nerd the fuck out. So
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
So those are some of my fandoms, but I feel like I'm falling in new ones all the time. You know what I mean? I'm in Roblox fandoms now.
No way.
Oh, girl, I'm in Brookhaven. uh, Pet Simulator,
Pet Simulator.
Animal Simulator. I'm crazy. So I'm having fun though. My daughters have sucked me into another metaverse, right? So it was always interesting to hear people talk about a metaverse as if it was one thing. Like we're all a metaverse. So we're all ultimately going to have these things that are specific for us that you can only get through coming through us, right? So
correct.
Roblox was kind of interesting, but this idea that fandom isn't a metaverse that's equally as interesting as sometimes the metaverses that the canon creates is a misnomer. So for me, that's fandom.
I love that. Is it true that you've written a Star Wars fanfic?
Oh, girl, slash fanfic, please, all the squeeze, all the feels, I like. I mean, it's why I never wanted to be a fanboy, because it always felt like you had to be cool, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to worry about being cool. I wanted to geek out about something, you know what I mean? And meet other people who was into that same thing I was into. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That was part of the fun, particularly when I never was the nerdy, I'm a black man, right? So the nerdy guy who I didn't know what that was. I'm from a family of professional athletes. People were cool. When I saw Billy D. Williams, I didn't think he was a nerd. I was Lando Calrissian was the coolest dude ever, So I was trying to emulate that, right? The nerdy and how they thought of nerdy and how I thought of nerdy were not the same thing. I saw athletic as nerdy. I thought charismatic as nerdy. I thought, knowing the periodic chart was nerdy, playing with lasers,
Running to class because you're late. That's nerdy.
Nerdy, right. Getting in class because you don't want no problem. So, nerdy was about trying to achieve excellence. It was a sense of self. I didn't see it as a negative. So I thought it was weird that they thought me being able to speak or write or that made me an asshole. I was like, oh, that's cool. Go ahead with that. Run with that, homie. I don't think it's going to go your way. And I always felt that way. I always had a confidence about it, so I still feel that way.
I salute you for being a part of the Star Wars fandom, and anyone else in the audience who's part of the Star Wars fandom, that's a really tough fandom for us to be part of, especially right now.
You ain't lying.
If y'all have Twitter, it's a battleground.
It's fire. It's fire. And I've had my problems. I was hot about the last movie. I mean, you got to understand, I entered it at a different time. So I talked about Elizabeth's stand-up last night, but I will just preface this by saying, when my mother told me that there was a movie called Star Wars, I told her I was not going. I was not interested. It was the lamest title I had ever heard of. I laughed in her face. And she made me go. And I remember, like it was yesterday, Poinsett Highway, it was an 8-plex, and they had velvet walls. And I was doing this in the walls. Like I was having sex with the walls. And by the time I finished, like, ooh, in the walls, my mom came out of the, she said, boy, if you don't get your black ass out of here from rubbing up on them damn walls and come in this theater, I will slap the black off you. I'm so tired of you, Orlando. I'm so tired of you. So when we got inside, Star Wars comes on, and Darth Vader got asthma. I don't care what y'all say. I was like, it's the Schlee stack from Land of the Lost. What is happening right now? All you gotta do is get this dude a cigarette. Who is scared of this dude with asthma? Y'all playing, I'm not. But there was this idea of the force, of this thing that connected us that was greater, and that was the part where I was like, that force, something about that idea, that really resonated. And then I saw Lando Calrissian. And because I saw me, suddenly, in this land of whatever this was, there was this dude, and he wasn't corny. And I was like, okay, well, he the coolest dude here. I mean, it's not this dude over here you're following, but this dude right here. Hey, who is this? This dude is, and I was completely, with the cape and the whole thing, I was like, okay, I'm in, right? And I wasn't thinking about, the things that we think about now. I was just a little kid in fandom, and finally I saw myself, and there was a way into that universe. It's simple, right? So I stick it out because of it. While I look at them flounder around. Listen, I was out on Jar Jar Binks. I'm gonna get real. As soon as I heard Misa, Nosa, Yusa, Wasa, Gosa, what the hell is going on here? I mean, it was Step and Fetch It. It was Mammy. It was classic. It was the voice. It was the tone. That wasn't a mistake. Okay? So, for me, marrying a black woman was like, all right, I got to give him a pass. All right. But, it's hard for me. It was hard for me. I was hot. Right? But what disenfranchised person? I really think about it in terms of not so much being black as I think of it in terms of being disabled. Because they still give able-bodied people those roles and then give them awards for pretending to be disabled as if there are no disabled actors, or as if that's not normal, that's just their normal. They're not subhumans or broken humans. Like what? How did we get here? That's still blackface. So when we talk about representation, we got to move beyond black and white and start looking at all these other groups of individuals, large groups of individuals who are marginalized and disenfranchised, but people have normalized that behavior. For me, but we all dream and fangirl the same, right? That's the beauty and power of fandom.
That's facts. That's why I love, have you seen A Quiet Place?
Yes.
Love A Quiet Place.
I did.
And that actress, I think her name is Millicent Simmons. She's actually hard of hearing. And I think she influenced the film a lot. And it was able to be more relatable for hard of hearing audiences. And that shit is awesome. That's how it should be.
Suddenly a storyteller, not like so many of the other storytellers, stepped forward and brought something because they authentically had a voice in the process, right? That's what diversity really is. It means not that you get a job, but you get to tell your story. There's nuances that only you can find by having that lived experience. It doesn't exclude someone else, but it does mean that you have value to bring to that story and insight that is specifically yours as an artist, and it is important because without it, we end up with more of the same. And it's a powerful thing.
That's right. And also, you can smell it from a mile away. You can smell it.
Always.
If someone is not part of that marginalized community and you're writing them as if they are, everyone who actually is in that community is going to be like, dog shit. No way. You can smell it from a mile away.
Unmissable.
But we're taking steps to get there. So I want to talk about you. Can you tell us about the origins of Homeboys Productions and Advertising, please?
Homeboys Productions. All right, so I'm 17 years old. I want to get in the entertainment business. I'm probably like most of you. I don't know where to start. I don't know nobody who knew nobody. And I meet this guy, and he tells me about these advertising jobs that you can get. And he says you got to have a company to pitch the ideas. So I start working for this company called Kingfisher Productions, and they ask me to pitch them ideas. And I pitch them ideas, and they make them into commercials. And then I took those commercials, and I said, hey, these are my ideas. This is my company. And I started getting commercial clients. And next thing you know, I was doing commercials for Mazda and Food Lion and McDonald's. And that's how I started off in the entertainment business.
Another quick experiment for the audience. Raise your hand if Make 7 Up Yours is burned into your brain like it is mine. Make 7 Up Yours.
Up yours!
That's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Oh, things I wrote on the back of a napkin. That's actually true. That's how that happened. They had this slogan, I think it was 7 Up, it's what's up, or 7 Up, drink it up. And I was like, yeah, it'll make no sense to me. And I was like, I don't want to do this job. I don't want to have 15 guys standing behind some monitor telling me what to say. I don't want to do it. And they were like, well, what do you think? And I said, if it was me, I think it should be something provocative because you're trying to get young people to drink your soda. And they're like, well, what does that mean? And I was like, I don't know. I would have to look at your sales data. I don't know what's going on. And we went through that data dig thing. And I was like, then it should be up yours. And the guy looked at me. I'll never forget. He's like, his name was John. He was super Southern. He's like, why you think it should be up yours? I don't get that at all. Well, why up yours? What that mean? I said, well, you got all these young people. You're trying to get them to drink your soda. And when I was young, all I did was rebel against my parents. Whatever my parents said was the dumbest shit I'd ever heard. So what do young people do but rebel? Give them an opportunity to rebel. Give them an opportunity to express themselves and say, up yours. And he was like, I like it. I like that pretty good. I like that pretty good. And they let me do the slogan. And that's literally how it happened.
Man, did that shit stick.
Yeah, fun.
All right, so I'm pretty sure everyone in this room, we often think about what would be the case if more black and brown people were behind the scenes, and what it would look like if we had our people in those stages of media. So I'm wondering, like for example, if there was a sister in the room at the time, I don't think Kendall Jenner would have ever solved racism with a can of Pepsi. That was an embarrassing time for all of us. I'm wondering.
True.
I'm wondering, since you've worn so many hats in media, like writing, producing, directing, have you ever been the brother in the room?
More times than I care to count.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Sometimes, listen, I've gotten myself in trouble for that, and I've gotten myself out of trouble for it. So it's actually cut both ways for me. But too many. I was the brother in the room for American Gods. I mean, pretty simple. Look, there was a point where there was a scene, and it was supposed to happen in season 2, and in their minds it was another Anansi speech. And Anansi, I believe, was supposed to be angry that there was a white God, white Jesus, in Ibis's funeral home. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're like, no, there's a white God in there, and the speech is going to be about the fact that there's a white God in this black funeral home. And I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about, because you think these are men, and these are gods. And Ibis is the god of death. He's the most powerful god in the entire show. Everybody dies. He's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Not the god of war who's trying to make, like literally, that, there he is incarnate. And we have a beef because Love Bilquis I am a matrilineal God. I worship women. So there's no way I'm going to let that man have that queen. It cannot happen. That's Anansi. Whatever tale he has to spin, whatever lie or truth he must tell. And they couldn't understand that that was what needed to happen, because in their minds it was just another Negro speech. And in my mind, it was, it's like the core of what we talk about as a community. Black society is a matrilineal society, right? Whereas white society is a patrilineal society. Women are often the breadwinners because they fall into two categories, right? So you look at government, you look at service, you look at the financial basis of the black community, you're looking at black women. You're not looking at black men, who are more often incarcerated, but in these days, now black women are incarcerated more than black men. So how can it all? It's all gone to a very different place. But the point is that our societies are aligned with the society of Anansi. So to tell that story is like I could tell this God story, but I could talk about these very real things, like modern slavery being bigger today than it was back in the day, but we talk about it as if it's gone. Those ideas, I thought, within that show felt so real and so pertinent and so in keeping with what Brian Fuller and Michael Green intended. And these are two white showrunners. So it's not about race. They actually set the foundation. I was following the foundation of the characters that we agreed upon from the start, right? So I look at all of those alliances and the stories, and I say, man, I got in trouble for being the black guy in the room because it was clear to me that that message would resonate, that it was real, that it was raw, and that it was in the core of the community that we all know about, and yet we never ever see it. We always have to apologize for it. We always have to be victims. And in this case, we got to be gods. And that is ultimately what we are.
I like that. All right, so many of us here in the room are creatives in our own sense, and unfortunately, a lot of us struggle with where the median is for blackness in the public eye. And we don't have to get into it too much, but our general understanding of the American God situation is that you are basically too real for television.
Just power struggle, really. Simpler than that.
Power struggle.
Simpler than that. You're a new showrunner. You're coming to a show. You want to write the characters. You want to tell the story. You've been hired to tell the story. That is your job. And you have this guy who was there before who has written the story and written so many of the characters and is telling the story. You either have to allow that guy to do his thing, or you have to silence that guy to do your thing. In his case, he could not share that with me in his mind. So I had to go away and he had to stay, and that was the deals that were made in closed doors. And that's all it was. It was his personal commenting on me personally and the other showrunners' work that led it to the place of race. And it was also the fact that financially, it was the stupidest decision they could have made. They ended their show. So when they say it's about money, I go, no, it's not about money. It's about power and control over narrative, because if it was about money, you would have continued making boatloads of money because that's what you were doing.
Tough pill to swallow.
For me, those are the nuances that were important to circle. And honestly, it's not the first time I've encountered racism. I'm a black man. You know how many times 30 cops done pulled up on me and I never done nothing? I mean, you know, stick your left hand out there. I thought I was doing a hokey pokey. Stick your ass out. Touch your left foot. I mean, it's, you know, don't move, you know, all that madness, right? I've been through that insanity before. They burned a cross in my front yard before. I carry no hate in my heart. I understand how this functions, right? So for me, it was just funny that suddenly I get fired for doing my job too well, and because I now am in a power struggle because I care about the creative and you care about being in power. And now y'all trying to talk like it's about money. The whole nuance of how that played itself out corporately, I just don't want another black child to find themselves, or a black artist to find themselves, or a female artist, or any artist, or fat art, any artist that they decide they can make you a second-class citizen because you're somehow fucking broken. For whatever reason they decide that is, I wanted there to be a foundation within the guild for you to say, no, 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 I have rights. There's ways you have to behave with me and ways that I have to be bound by, but what you can't do is wipe your ass with my integrity and tell me I'm a second-class citizen. I didn't want to be responsible for letting that go and allowing one of you to find yourself in my position, having to deal with the same bullshit I do. I've lived a privileged life. That's a sword I felt like I could take. So for me, it's about the ones coming after me. I will likely not get anything from it, but they'll know not to fuck with us on that bullshit again, and that's what I wanted them to know.
We can clap for that. Damn, that was good. Okay. So I recently attended Tribeca Film Festival, and I was lucky enough to screen 88. That was executive produced by Charlemagne the God, if you didn't know. I'm a New Yorker. But this movie is dense, y'all. Hey, New York, okay, let's go. Hey! 88, this movie is dense as hell. So what kind of message would you hope to be the main takeaway for audiences when it reaches them?
Well, Aramus, the director, is probably the first director I've encountered who is attempting to tell a political thriller from the eyes of an African-American director, male or female. I just hadn't seen a lot of black political thrillers, and this seemed like one of the first ones. Are you familiar with Citizens United? Anybody know what that is? And I'm sure I'm just going to throw out some. Feel free to research this madness. I do not pretend to be an aficionado. But as I recall, Clarence Thomas and his wife are very much wrapped up in Citizens United because I believe his wife was a part of that political action committee for Citizens United. And then, of course, he ruled in various ways about how money can flow into midterm elections. The way it works now, money can endlessly flow into midterm elections, which is why people say they have bought the government. This film explores that Citizens United case. And it has a candidate in it who finds himself in the middle of some situations. I play one of those that candidate. And it was just interesting to unpack these ideas in a political thriller that are so alive as we fight for democracy, or really equity, in this democracy. And so Charlemagne the God produced it, and check it out. I'd love to see what you think.
88, y'all. Don't forget. Write that one down. All right. So a handful of the characters that you play are kind of on the serious side, which I think is funny because of your obvious background in comedy. So I'm wondering if there's some link or like secret formula that's between comedy and dramatic roles. Or are you just the GOAT? I don't know.
You know, it's timing, really. Comedy and drama have different timing, and comedy and drama have different sounds. So for me, it's really, I see things in such a musical way. I'm often trying to choose a character that is the antithesis of the sound of the person I'm opposite, or the way they speak, the speed at which they speak. So I always think about my friend Chris Tucker, because if I say to you, you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It's funny! Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It don't sound the same. The tone dictates the feeling. It's the note you choose. Comedy is always funny. It's always up here. Because it brings that up in you. And power's always here. It's always a bass note. And the medium is where you play, right? All those other little elements, right? The lilt to land it in this part of the country or in this socioeconomic group. Those little things that we all hear and see and observe that other people don't pay no attention to, but it makes you know, oh, I know about that. Yeah. And so those are the components I look for, you know, in creating a character, and that's comedy and drama to me. They kind of married together. I don't know how to pull them apart. I just feel like any character should have both elements in them in order to be real. Because the nicest people are sometimes the nastiest some bitches you ever want to deal with.
I know that's
and
right.
Sometimes the most dangerous people you ever wanted to meet are some of those gentle, kind people. You know, they see you in need, right? Their willingness to help, their empathetic response. So, you know, people are tricky. What can I say?
Dramedy, y'all.
Yeah, man, you know.
I'm waiting for you to jump into more horror, because I haven't forgotten about Primeval and Evolution. And I do know that the connection between horror and comedy is also a really tight one. Jordan Peele taught me that.
Yeah, definitely.
Please? Horror movie? Are you so cool with Ernest Dickerson?
Yes.
Yes! That's a success!
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's not out of the field.
No. I've not made a lot of enemies. I love horror. I'm a horror fan. I just like the way it makes me squeal.
We got one. Yes.
So, yeah, I did this horror film called Seconds Apart. And it's such a creepy film. And it's film noir. So it's uber just, and these twins have this telepathic ability, and their telepathic ability is nasty because they can make you do things to yourself that you think are happening. Loved it.
Okay, there's hope. Awesome.
Yes, hope.
Is there any story or idea that you have out there that you'd be willing to pursue animated? Something like The Adventures of Chico and Guapo that you did previously?
Yeah, there are a couple things that I'm talking about animated right now. You know, right before the pandemic, I was part of a deal. I was about to do about 7 animated shows for NBC Universal going across platforms. And the pandemic happened and everything fell apart. So I'm excited to jump back in and do a bunch of the animation stuff I was doing before. So, you know, I will post some of this madness later, but there's Little Gods, which is, you know, shall we say my Anansi story, as it were. There's a live action Anansi piece. There's the Tainted Love, that's the graphic novel, just animated edition. There's Get Off Earth. I think this is entirely stupid.
I watched that on YouTube, the
Yeah,
teaser.
I did it forever ago. I've been supposed to, this is a stupid idea, but this is what it is. You ever notice how every summer blockbuster, everything happens and somebody's got to save Earth, right? It's like something goes wrong and they go, oh, they got to save Earth, and then the Earth is somehow saved and everybody's all happy, right? So the idea was, what happens if they don't save Earth? And that just doesn't happen. So what if we decide we're going to give up that idea and we're going to give up Earth? So the idea is that 7 disasters happen on 7 continents, and 7 people have 7 days to get off Earth. That's the premise. So, ultimately, the way it went down was a simple scientific thing. If the moon moves out of orbit too far with Earth, we would have tsunamis and tidal waves. It would be a hot mess. And they're trying to colonize the moon. They have white flight happening. And all of the wealthiest members in society are moving to the moon, where they've built these gorgeous lunar colonies. And they have nuclear power there and a nuclear power backup, and some idiot blows the nuclear power plant, and the moon suddenly moves too far outside of orbit with Earth. And all hell breaks loose on Earth. And these 7 people who get out of each continent have to come together to find a way to get the moon back in with the Earth.
Okay, because Whitey's on the moon.
That's my stupidity. Absolutely. You know, I wanted to do something like South Park, bigger, but like where it's just ludicrous, funny, crazy mess happening. I was like, I really want to do one of those. I would like to be unleashed comedically in that realm, like I was back in the Mad TV days, because you can't do that on film. And that's kind of why I stepped away from comedy, if I'm being honest. Is I couldn't do outlandish stuff. And I kept getting in trouble. I'm going to tell you this sidebar story. So there was this sketch on Mad TV. Maybe some of you heard of it. It was called Schindler's Lost.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote that sketch. So I want you to imagine the shit show I get myself in. Quincy Jones is in a helicopter with Steven Spielberg. They're flying from New York to the Hamptons. While they're flying, Steven Spielberg gets a phone call in his helicopter, and he answers, and he says, yeah, yeah, do it, yeah, tell everybody, kill it, and he hangs up. When he lands, Quincy Jones says, what was that about? He says, oh, there's some sketch on some show called Mad TV called Schindler's Lost. It's making fun of my movie. I told him to kill it. Quincy goes, what are you talking about? That's my show. He goes, what do you mean it's your show? He goes, I'm the executive producer of Mad TV. He says, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was your show. It was a mistake. He goes, it's no big deal. He goes, I killed it. I can't unkill it, though. He goes, nah, don't worry about it. So I get a phone call on set. They say, Quincy Jones wants to talk to you.
Oh.
So I come in. Hey, what's going on, nephew? Because that was my joke, that I was the older son and he was dad. Hey, what's happening, nephew? And he's like, don't play games with me right now, young man. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, did you write some sketch called Schindler's Lost? And I said, yeah. He said, what is that? What is that? I said, it's my parents in a car. They won't stop. My father won't stop for directions. He says, what? I said, it's the story of a man with a sense of justice, but no sense of direction. It's my father. He's in the car. I thought it'd be funny if it was Oscar Schindler and his wife. They in the car. They're trying to get to Auschwitz to save the Jews. And she's like, you lost, fool. Turn right in. He's like, woman, I know where the hell I'm going. And he won't stop and ask for directions. So that's what it is. That's the bit. And he doesn't end up saving anybody. So everything goes to hell and Schindler's lost. Story of a man with a sense of justice but no sense of direction. That shit was funny to me. Is that not funny? I thought it was ludicrously funny. He was like, don't write no more stuff like that no more. I was like, I got this one, but this Klansman with sickle cell is hilarious. Come on. He was like, no, you don't, Orlando. I'm like, it's hilarious. What are you talking about? He doesn't know he's black. That's the whole joke. Then he finds out he got sickle cell, and he's like, it can't be, it can't be. I think it's hilarious. What are you talking about? No, Orlando, you cannot do that. What's the other one you got? I got this other one, like the Emancipation Proclamation. He's like, you can't do anything political. I go, wait, just let me pitch it to you. Damn. Okay, so it's the Emancipation Proclamation, but you know they probably didn't tell black people that they were free. So you got to figure the guy reads somewhere, hears out in the street he's free, he's sitting there in the house and comes in and the guy says, Master, can I talk to you real quick? Hey, I've been here out in the fields there, Master, that there's something called the Emancipation Proclamation and I was free to go. What you heard about that there, Master? Hell no, Jasper, ain't no emancipation, nothing. Get your ass back in the fields. Or, and I thought it'd be funny if the horse did the or part. Or, it's a flip, right? And it's the one, you know, the good white master who knows that you're free. He's trying to tell you you're free, but you think he's just fucking with you. No, listen, stop, put that down, stop. Come out the kitchen, mammy, everybody, just come in here. Bring everybody in here. Now, there's been some laws passed and some things and changed. And, won't work for me no more, you're free. You're free now, you're free to go. You can leave here and go wherever you want. No, I'm serious. You can go. Listen. Ain't nobody gonna send no dogs after you or nothing. Okay? You can just go free. Be free from now on. Gone. Hey, you a funny motherfucker, Master, for real. Look here. I'm gonna get this chicken ready for 5 o'clock, all right? Y'all go back and iron, goddammit. You know what's going on. Let's get this house clean. Master losing his damn mind. You need a foot rub or something? So, with whiskey, can I get you something? Something's wrong. No, Orlando, you can't do that. I mean, they're stupid ideas, but for me, comedically, they hit up on the things that we're still avoiding today. But it gives everybody a way in to laugh at the ludicrousness of how we arrived here. But this suppressing it and all that, man, I don't know. I just felt like as a comedian, I could come do what I wanted on a stage, but I couldn't fight with them about why that's just silly and funny. How is that political? To me, I was like, there's no politics there. It's just all love. It's all, you think me? You think my whole shit is to come here trying to make fuckers feel like shit? That's what y'all do. Ain't that what the news is for? Yup. You know, it's just crazy. So, yeah, anyway, I ramble and I digress.
What are we talking about? I love your Twitter page. Who's Trolando?
Trolando? Yeah. So I decided if I was going to be on the internet, there's somebody need to make fun of because all people do on the internet is troll other people, particularly on Twitter. So I was like, I want to be a troll, but I want my #1 target to be me. So I became Trolando. And Trolando's job, #1 job, is to make fun of and shit on Orlando Jones. His #2 job is to shoot at anybody else, because as hard as I go at me, y'all don't stand a chance if I feel like it. So, and that was really his purpose. And so because I was getting such crazy attacks, particularly for stuff like American Gods or certain jokes I made or whatnot, I just thought it'd be fun to have a troll to troll people when they showed up. So, Trollando.
And that shit stuck. It really stuck. It's a hashtag, y'all. You can literally go like hashtag
It really
Trollando.
is.
Because that's what I did in preparation for this, and I just all of it. It's good stuff. Delicious.
Lots of trouble with Trollando.
Do you still eat vegan?
Yes, I've been vegan since I was 18 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Hey, vegans! Hey!
I promise this is not a troll. Can you recommend us some vegan cooking that won't take our black card away?
So I'm gonna.
Word?
Yeah, there's a vegan food truck outside that is very good. I've been having soul burgers and sweet potato tater tots and Brussels sprouts. They got a whole litany of things. You want a vegan recipe? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna throw this out at you very quick. Any salad, Caesar salad, anybody? Okay, all right.
Let's give it up for
I
Caesar
like stuff
salad.
that has flavor, like really flavorful, okay? So there's a Caesar salad dressing I like to make. It's pretty much Bragg's liquid aminos. And I will find this recipe and post it. I will not make you remember it. It's garlic, it's olive oil, it's cold water, it's dulse seaweed, okay? When you blend this together, you get this very rich flavor, like you got a ton of salt and all of that in it because of the dulse seaweed and because of the Bragg's liquid aminos, so it's super flavorful. And you spread it across your salad, and it's just like crack. You do it in a Vitamix in terms of blending it. My daughters will eat any salad I make as long as I put that dressing on. They don't care what it is. So I have like children like grabbing at romaine and spinach like it's like,
Imagine.
Daddy, get more of the dressing. Put some more of the dressing, Daddy. Why are you being stingy with the dressing? My God, Daddy. It's so, my daughter would take the bowl and just turn it up like it's crack. I'm telling you, it's crack. So I make that as a salad with that salad dressing, and then we make this thing called a sloppy Jones. Take some organic ground turkey meat, throw that in with some spinach, a lot of spinach. Use some Daya cheese. If you don't want, go get that organic string cheese and cut that up. You can throw in both if you feel like it. Drop in some liquid aminos, drop in some dulse seaweed, take some organic ketchup and squirt that in there a bit, and then mix that mess up right there. And then before you put it on your sandwich, take some organic cream cheese, toast a bun, and spread the cream cheese on the bread, and then put that, sloppy Jones is what we call it, that mixture on that. Now, my daddy is a certified meat eater from Mobile, Alabama. And I made that black man get up out his chair. He said, boy, don't knock my drink over back there, Matty. Boy, I don't know what in hell you put in that there sandwich you just made right there, but you're going to make me 2 more of them motherfuckers right there. I need 2 more of them motherfuckers. All right, now. Boy, that boy did something with them sandwiches there. God. Oh, Lord. Let me just, hold up. I'm going to get back over here. No, I don't need no help. Whew, Lord. I need to get up and tell you that. He'd kick my ass if he saw that, man. Anyway, I ramble and I digress.
Have you ever been to Slutty Vegan?
Of course I've been a slutty vegan. Yeah, I was hoeing vegan. Well, you like, please, just stomp down hoe vegan, nasty vegan. Listen, I try and be all the vegans. What you talking about?
They're about to open one up in Harlem.
I heard.
I am very excited.
It's amazing. First of all, it's amazing that Jermaine Dupri, of all people, is like repping the vegan situation like that. You know? Nobody expected Jermaine Dupri. That would be like Birdman band. No, Mauve, just vegan now. What happened to that boy? Took a chicken, took a licking to that boy.
This
You didn't see that Birdman coming. I caught y'all sleeping. I caught y'all sleeping now. But
All right, I think we got a little bit of time to take some questions from the audience. So in an organized fashion, if you have a question for Mr. Jones, we have 2 mics up here. Just line up. Come on, don't be shy. Let's get it.
don't ask nothing philosophical. I'm just an actor. I don't know nothing about nothing.
All right, let's start over here first.
So his question was, during my time on Mad TV working with Phil Lamar, I never worked with Ari Spears. Ari Spears replaced me when I left Mad TV. So I left at the end of season 2, so I only worked with the original 8 cast members. And Mad TV was fun. You know, look, it's a competitive environment, sketch comedy, and the quickest and most truthful answer is, I was on the writing staff and I was on the acting staff, and when that happens, when you're in the writer's room, all they do is complain about the fact that these damn actors won't say the words right. And when you're in the rehearsal room, all the actors do is complain about the bullshit the actors wrote for them. And when you have both jobs, everybody knows you know why the bodies are buried. So I really couldn't say anything. On that show, I had to really be quiet. And because of it, it could be a little stressful to be stuck in the middle. So I will tell you the best story ever on that show is about Deborah Wilson, who I think is a genius. A certified genius. And we had a sketch that Deborah Wilson wanted to do, which was the Turner Family Classics, and she wanted me to play Ike Turner and her to play Tina Turner. And we were doing the Three Little Bears, doing the, you know, all the family classics, but put on in a play by Ike and Tina Turner. Long story short, the guy said no, he didn't think it was funny. And she said, it is funny. And he says, okay, if we do it and it ends up not being funny, then no, you're gonna have to do something for me. She says, okay, but if it is funny, then I'm gonna stick my thumb in your ass. Okay? And he laughed, and she laughed, and we did the sketch, and it killed. So Deborah Wilson chased down the executive producer, and she pinned that 6'4" man on the ground. And I watched her stick her thumb in his ass.
Hope he had a cigarette.
And I humbly submit to you that he was 6'4" and she is 5'6". He had to want that thumb. That's all I'm saying.
Yo!
I'm not mad at him, but he is 6'4". And the funny part of that madness is there is no animosity between them. On every show he has worked on, he has hired Deborah Wilson. So I figured that's one you have never heard before.
All right, next question over here, the Black Panther t-shirt.
There we go. How you doing?
Good, sir.
Today there's this trend now in Hollywood for this what I believe is tokenized representation, where you have so many roles that are being allocated to actors of color that, frankly, I think are being ethnically swapped in that way for virtue signaling purposes, etc. And I don't like it. I've been black most of my life. I don't like it. And no, really, I have, honestly. And I wanted to know what your take on this particular trend is. I mean, it's.
I don't think there's anything new happening. I think we're just, life as usual, as it were. I mean, look, I think social media has certainly made conversations louder. And I acknowledge that we are and have been in a diversity revolution since 2016, I believe. But I've been through, 5 or 6 diversity revolutions in Hollywood, so, Yeah, okay. No. And, I think at the end of the day, if I'm really looking at it empirically, I would say that what it is creating is more guild members of color in those guilds. That needs to happen. And in doing so, I don't think that 15 years from now we'll be looking and seeing the same thing that we're seeing right now. So I would say give it a moment, but I do think there is extreme value in their new guild members of color, because if you're not a guild member, you don't get to play in that game, right? And right now, the guilds are in no way equitable. So the fact that that's happening, irrespective of whatever we feel about the content of the moment, what's happening below the scenes, and I think is important, and I absolutely support that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Okay, over here.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So my introduction to you was Evolution. My mom and I had tons of fun when I was younger watching that movie together. So I was wondering if you could share with us any sort of like funny story about the mom and dad.
Evolution. So, she's saying that one of her favorite films is this film I did called Evolution, directed by the late Ivan Reitman, with David Duchovny and Sean William Scott and Julianne Moore and what have you. A science fiction comedy. Obviously, the balance is trying to do a science fiction and a comedy together. The fun of that movie was they were trying to get us to prank each other. That was what everybody wanted everybody to do. And the best pranks were always Duchovny, because he was way committed to, like, he was all in. So you could get locked out of your trailer and not know why, or you couldn't find your trailer, and that would all be Duchovny. But my probably most favorite experience right now from that movie is that every time I go in a hospital, I get attacked by nurses. And they're always like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. Okay, every day, and I do mean every day, someone comes in here and I tell them, it's just like Orlando Jones said, there's always time for lubricant. You'd be surprised by the number of people who really don't think about lubricant when we're doing something like a probe or we're going in anally, even when we're putting on a camera. But anyway, they don't think about it, and we tell them, it's just like Orlando Jones said, there's always time for lubricant. You should be the spokesman for KY Jelly, because I have to tell you, every day we tell people that they should take that time for that lubricant, and that's because of you, so congratulations to you. I gotta go back to work. Who's dying? Who? I've had that experience no less than 30 times. When my daughters were being born, I had nurses coming in and out of the delivery room that were not connected to the birth, that would just open the door and be like, hey, you went an alien's ass. Hey, lubricando, yes, for you, good for everyone, yes, take the time. Goodbye, goodbye. So for the gem of that line following me through life, that is my favorite Evolution story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question. All right, over here.
Don't forget to post the recipes, please.
I will not forget. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You see what happened with black
that was
man
the
and
question?
food? You see what happened with black man and food? Did you see how much bass he had in his voice when he said that? Suddenly, it was like James Earl Jones, Samuel Jackson had joined forces. Hey, don't forget to post the recipes, please. You fuck around and forget these recipes, I'll shoot your black ass, you know what I mean? I heard the subtext. I'm sorry. Where are we? Oh, we're here. We're this side, and then you. I'm sorry. You, sir.
Oh shit. Okay. Orlando, Mr. Jones, pleased to meet you, brother. I have a bit of an advice question. So,
Okay.
I'm a cinematographer and I'm a filmmaker, and I come from a game development background also. So, I've had a chance to work with a lot of big companies, and the biggest piece of advice I'm looking for right now is how do you deal with the creative meetings and tone deafness, regardless of each generation that walks through the door? But just as a small thing, you said something about the generational, so the inclusive revolutions that you've gone through, like 4 or 5 of them. And it seems like it's something different, but in the end of the day, if you've been there, it's really not. So how do you deal with that over and over and over?
Honestly, I don't, because I don't, look, if you can't change the circumstances, change their perception. That's the only way. So the first thing I would say is change your perception, because the one you presently have isn't going to work for you, right? So let's switch to one that will work for you. The one that will work for you in that environment is one that says, that's not my job. This is the fee I get paid. Here's how I get paid. Here's how I get to do the thing that I love to do. And how do I do that transactionally to my benefit without any emotionality in it at all? Because I think that increases your revenue. With the increase in your revenue, I think it gives you the opportunity to respond to the tone deafness with your own work, which you are clearly capable of. In which case, you are now building a model by which to tell your own story in the absence of the tone deafness that you witness. And chances are other people will witness what you witness. You'll build an audience and you'll be able to move forward. But I think that's a much better use of your time and a much better asset to your pocket than being mad at them motherfuckers for being who they are. Right? So change the perspective and make it work for you. I don't have beef. I don't even have beef. There's no such thing as beef with me because I'm not what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking to tell my story to the best of my ability with you as my partner. If you are not the best partner, then I will just move to the next partner. What I will not do is fight with you about being you because they're your choices, so they're your consequences. And with that, I say God bless, but that ain't got nothing to do with me pimping. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon.
So my question for you is, after the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of writers, guilds, and things of that nature opened up the Black Lives Matter Apology Tour, where they offered a lot of resources with no actual action. What do you recommend for people who have worked with the Screenwriters Guild and the Sundance Film Festival, and nothing has come of the work that we got opportunities to see things, but we didn't get opportunities to actually make things happen? What recommendations do you have for people who've now received training?
Look, the truth of the matter is today you have TikTok, and so you don't need them, right? So I think it's important to remember, this is how I think of it, right? If I had 10,000 fans, just 10,000, and they showed up on Pantheon or OnlyFans or Fanbase or I don't care. Wherever there's a transactional window, right? I put my content on Vimeo or SoundCloud. Again, it doesn't matter to me. But I know that if I got 10,000 hardcores and we can $3.99 a month or whatever pay model allows me $40, that's a $400,000 a year business direct to my pocket. So now let's remove that and talk fame meter, because I think that's an important metric, because people have this idea that the fame meter is going to bring them all this money. So anybody who was starring on a show like Empire recently, let's say you're the 5th or 6th lead, people know your face, you're making money, you're on a network show, right? You're probably making about $50,000 an episode. Let's say, yeah, you did well, right? Okay. You owe 50% taxes, you owe 10% to your agent, you owe 10% to your manager, you owe 5% to your lawyer, you owe 5% to your business manager, you make 20 cents on the dollar. You can't afford the taxes on the money you just made. You are in a financial problem. This is true of everyone in the industry. You have a $400,000 a year business direct to your pocket with a clear understanding of what the cut is between you and iTunes, who passes the 30% on to the customer. $1.29, 99 cents, right? But you're still taking 79 cents. Are you following my logic here?
Yes, absolutely.
So in one way, you're free with 10,000 and a much better revenue model to grow with than you are to chase that. So why chase it in today's marketplace? So there is no one holding you back from anything today. It's you. Run with it.
Thank you.
My love, of course.
Sorry, I'm a little short. So part of being a nerd, in my opinion, is having an unmovable opinion. So like Batman is trash, Goku can beat Superman. What would be your unmovable opinion?
Oh, this is going to be good.
My unmovable opinion?
Yes.
Oh, Lord Jesus, you really want... Look, plenty of stuff is trash, right? But you spend the same amount of energy on the trash as you do the treasure. It's just like I don't know. I enjoy the trashing of it all. That's why I like the Trollando of it all, because that's just fun being a fan. You know what I mean? But please, I could trash stuff I'm on. That's all I did to Sleepy Hollow. Didn't you follow me on Twitter? I trashed the shit out of that show every week. Everything we missed, I was like, how they gonna be sisters? They ain't even the same complexion. Who their daddy is? Who their daddy is? I trash everything, right? Because I'm a crazy fan. I don't make sense. I'm there to pick it apart. That's why I'm so insane about my own stuff, because I pick it apart, right? So there's so much stuff I could trash. It all turns to trash because they never know why it's special in the first place. So they always mess it up, right? We always find it and we're like, yes, it's awesome. And then like a year later, you're like, what in the hell? Who told these fools? So I feel like I've gone through from trash to treasure with so many things. So I don't know. It's so many things right now that I could say that about. But I will tell you that I am not. Michael Keaton is still the best Batman on the movie side.
Facts. That's facts.
Okay? I ain't mad at nobody. Yay, Zoe, but still. Okay. And then otherwise, I mean, Kevin wins on the animated side, so that's the end of that. So, I mean, right? And after that, and then you got to, tip your hat to Adam West. You just, that's just certain respectful things have to be done. Boom, pow, down, fuck y'all. That shit was hot. Okay, now. I'm done with Batman. You understand me? All these other hold on. I will admit, and I must say this out of respect for my homie, disrespect for you. There is one scene of Ben Affleck as Batman that is for that one scene in that horrible Man of Steel debauchery that was. Heavenly Father, don't smite me or strike me down for speaking the truth. But that one scene is Batman. And his Batman and the way he could do the subliminal with the talking to the self and the way he put the narrative together. Okay, that was Batman. I give that up. Otherwise, we need to stop talking about fucking Batman.
Thank you.
An audience of one. You hell yeah, that's right. I said it.
Okay, next question over here.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
So, for me, if I got the script for Drumline, I would look at it and be like, oh, it's a cool movie about a prodigy overcoming his struggles, become like top of the drumline and learning humility, XYZ. But drumline is like turned into it is a cultural phenomenon. Like every Negro that is worth it salt has seen drumline, and it's like. So when you saw the script, did you have the same thought, like, oh, this is a cool drumline movie, or did you know, like, okay, this will have the impact?
That's a great question. His question is, when I was making Drumline, did I have an understanding that it would become what it became in black culture? So, funny story. The movie they were trying to get me to make at the time was a movie called Like Mike, and it's a little movie with Lil Bow Wow, right? And Lil Bow Wow got some magical tennis shoes, so he's like Michael Jordan, right? So my agent calls me up. He's like, listen, I got two offers for you. One is for this movie called Like Mike, and the other one's for this movie called Drumline. I'm going to send you the scripts. So I read the scripts, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not doing this magic tennis shoe movie. I don't know what the fuck that is. But this Drumline joint, yeah, I want to talk about this. He says, really? Okay, well, the head of casting wants to have a conversation with you, but I just, look, it's your decision. We're not trying to tell you what you do, but we really think you should look at this Like Mike movie, dude, because Lil Bow Wow is hot. You know what I'm saying? He's really hot right now. And then you and Lil Bow Wow, that would really be, you know what I mean? Okay, buddy. Love you, buddy. Okay. Yeah, you too, buddy. Bye. Fuck you. I'm not doing that magic tennis shoe movie. I just came off Mad TV, and listen, I went and did a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and I still couldn't get taken seriously because of the replacements, okay? The last thing I was trying to do was a Magic Tennis Shoe movie. I was like, these people gonna laugh me out of town. Kiss my ass. I'm trying to be a respectable actor up in here. And so I took Drumline, and I took it for one reason. They wanted it to be Officer and a Gentleman. They wanted Louis Gossett Jr. and Richard Gere. And in this case, Nick Cannon is Richard Gere. Just wrap that around your head for a minute. So, and I'm Louis Gossett Jr. And I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, who yells at kids? Like, that's old school. And you know, ultimately I met Dallas Austin, and I think people don't realize that Drumline is based on Dallas Austin's life. That is his life story. And we moved it from high school to college because they wouldn't let us do any of that with high school students, so college. So I knew that after Dallas told me what the movie was really about, and that was Dallas Austin can't read music. He could hear it, and he could play it like you read about, but he couldn't read. And when he started to see what his mind looked like on paper, it blew his mind, because to him it was just natural thoughts that came so difficult to other people. And he wanted Dr. Lee to represent that idea that was important in a movie about his life. And for me, I give credit to him because it was him telling me what was important about his story that ultimately I think made that movie the phenomenon it is today. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He's a super producer, but his ability to really key in on the emotional quality of a story is a special ability. So I shout out my man Dallas Austin, because ultimately you love Drumline because you love him. Yeah.
I just want, like Mike 1 went crazy. I'm just going to say that, but thank you for your answer.
Thank you for your question. All right, we're going to hit 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap this joint up. Let's go over here.
Good evening, Mr. Jones.
Good evening.
I have like maybe 2 questions in one. As a child, did you play video games? And if you did, what was your favorite station and your favorite game as a child?
So as a kid, I played everything I could get my hands on. I had like an Odyssey and an Atari, but I think the thing I lost my mind on was like aside from just the handheld games when everything switched over to that. Let's see. I was obsessed with Space Invaders. I was that handheld Mattel Electronics joint football where, you know, then they went to the number 2 where you could pass the ball. Then I went into that one. And then they launched Sega, so I went ham on that one. I ain't even trying to get through table tennis. And then me and Donkey Kong got married a couple of times. And then they had a game called Charger Blaster where you race this car and you shoot these blasters, and it was like insane. So I went through that. And then if you ever play Halo 2, I'm the sergeant on the field in Halo 2. That's me running around screaming, "Legendary soldier!" That was my craziness, and I was so obsessed with that I played that in gaming rooms on networks. At one point, I was kicked in like 14, 16 hours a day because I was surgical with it, Jake. Like, ooh. So I would be just talking trash. I was under aliases. I was a problem. I really was. And you know how you play video games so long, you dream and you in the video game in your dream, right? Or I'm throwing grenades and foolishness. I'm trying to bounce it off the ground so it explodes mid-air, because in a tunnel I'm gonna get more blast radius. Ooh, child, I'm in it, okay. So I really had a lot of fun. And right around the birth of my daughter, my life of motorcycles and video games and stupidity was like, skirt. And they handed me my daughter. I'll never forget this moment. And I said, "Oh, she's beautiful." And she turned because she recognized my voice. They could have bought me for a penny, sis. I was done. I was like, oh my goodness, she recognized my voice. I'm in love. And it was over. And all of my interests became focused on 100-year planning for my daughter, literally. It happened instantaneously. I was like, I'm done. I sold motorcycles. I stopped playing video games, and I'm starting to circle back in. So now I'm in Roblox because of her. So if you see me in Brookhaven, a big paintball, or animal simulator, a pet simulator, or Uno, or any of the mini games in Roblox, don't be hating. Leave Chauncey
That's
Gardner alone.
crazy.
Thank you.
Who would have thought? Okay, last question.
It's an honor and a pleasure, sir. Thank you for coming. My question is about two movies you did around about the same time. First was the movie with Eddie Griffin. I'm sorry, my memory is...
Double Take.
Double Take. I saw that in the movie theater. And then also the Time Machine.
Time Machine.
How was it working with Eddie, and do you have any stories from the Time Machine?
So I almost went to prison several times with Eddie Griffin. I love Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin is brilliant. He really is. And he is an original. But when you give that boy too many bottles of champagne, there ain't no argument with Eddie Griffin. It's just not possible. So after we got thrown out of just about every place on the Sunset Strip, I decided that we should probably stop hanging out together. At that time, he was dating Erykah Badu, which was amazing, because I got to hang out with Erykah Badu for the first time because Eddie Griffin introduced me to her. Just let that sit with you for a minute. For Evolution, for Time Machine, it was really interesting because H.G. Wells' great-great-grandson was directing the movie. And H.G. Wells would have spun around in his grave 50 million times about me being in his movie. He had a particular point of view with regard to people of my persuasion. So when they first asked me to do it, I was doing Evolution, and I actually said no. And because I was like, why do I want to go? If you give me Guy Pearce's role, then yes. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, the compendium of all human knowledge in a science fiction movie, and H.G. Wells would be pissed. Sign me up. I think I'm going to do that. No. And then I got paranoid because I thought I really wanted it to be, if it was going to represent us, then I wanted it to represent us not as anyone's caricature, but just of us. And so it's like, well, what should it be like? Should he be like? And so then it just became about trying to create a character that was somehow didn't have any of the affectations of what is stereotypical black, but was still antithetically black as the compendium of human knowledge. And the way he purported information had the flair that is a part of our culture, but was still erudite, and that you felt like it would be a part of a museum experience in the future. So with that, I was proud of it because I felt like that Vox came across, at least what I was trying to do with them came across, and so it was a fun one for me. So thank you for asking.
Thank you, sir.
No doubt, friend.
Oh, I saw Double Take because of you being on Mad TV and Eddie's show, Malcolm Eddie. So that's why I went and saw Double Take when it came out when I was in high school. So I was like, I got to support it.
Hey, absolutely, my man. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you for your question. All right, I have one last question.
Listen, we're going to have a Biker Boys conversation later so people can do other things at the con. Okay.
I had a feeling that was coming. I'm not even going to lie to you. All right, I have one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
But before that, I would like to thank you on behalf of all geeks, nerds, blurs in the building.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We absolutely love and appreciate the way that you ride for us, and that's very rare in celebrities to be part of the communities that they help lift up, which is fucking awesome. I love talking about fandom and Star Wars with you, and I'm sure everyone in the audience was eating that shit up. So I would like to ask if you have any convention memories that have stuck with you from cons in the past.
The best thing about going to cons is the people I meet along the way. I find that we often stay connected on social media and whatnot. I got a chance to marry fans at San Diego Comic-Con.
I saw that.
And I did 15 weddings and 35 vow renewals, and people were in cosplay when I married them.
That's incredible.
So it was we were able to put together this event. So check this madness out. You come to Comic-Con, you get married, you choose your cosplay, you choose rings from either DC, Marvel, Star Trek, or Star Wars. We had fresh wedding cakes being made on the spot. We had just married pedicabs going through the gas lamp. We had a full band. We had a wedding DJ and a wedding planner. And I got to do those like 2 or 3 times, so I probably married over 40 people now and done about 150 vow renewals. And for people who go to cons and meet friends, vibe with people, and then you fuck around and fall in love, and then have kids, to be a part of those yearly memories as people celebrate their love and often having met at a con, is by far the most special experience I've ever had at a con, and it keeps us connected year after year. So, I love that aspect of cons. That's why I come to cons, just to sit and vibe and hang and do the thing. So I appreciate y'all coming out, and it's always love. And I want to just say one thing I want to be very clear about, and that is that, there's not a lot of time left, right? In the day, when you got your work and family, and you kind of pick and choose what you want to do and where you're going to spend your time. So the fact that you always spend your time to sit with us and hear what we have to talk about is the most humbling shit in the world. Deeply. So thank you. Thank you for coming out. It means the world to me. I appreciate you. And thank you for letting me be a part of Blerdcon 2022. Mad love.
Thank you. We're making plenty more of those memories this weekend. Thank you so much. Orlando Jones.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.